Why Humans Avoid War, Chapter 25. Rykov Point of View. As I was ushered through the Hall of Governance, I slowed to admire the artwork scattered throughout the premises. Murals depicting the cosmos, carvings of ancient deities, cultural artifacts from eons ago. Commander Rykov, the Yendel said my name slowly, since his species had difficulty pronouncing the R sound. Is there a reason you have stopped? I shook my head. Just looking. It's fascinating. A showcase of every... You can browse the exhibits another time. The Senate is waiting, he growled. Right. Perhaps I should have been irritated by this guy's impatience, but frankly, I was just happy he wasn't afraid of me. Most aliens I had spoken to since my arrival were walking around on eggshells, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Despite centuries of restraint and non-violence, they thought humans would snap on a whim. Why had Terran Command insisted on my testimony before the Senate? Why bother to comply with their subpoena? This would just be the next farce, the latest inquisition against humanity. I forced a smile as I strolled into the central chamber, sensing all eyes toward me. The new speaker was standing at the lectern, glancing over a briefing packet. His name was Retke, formerly the Kovian ambassador. His species was middle of the pack on the aggression scale, and he was one of the younger representatives in the Senate. Other than that, I didn't know much about him, but I wasn't expecting him to give us a fair shake. This was his golden opportunity to prove himself and to earn political points with Eula's supporters. Commander Rykov of the planet Earth, please have a seat at the designated bench. Retke's voice was smooth and silky, pleasant to the ears. I'm sure you understand why you are here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am aware of what you wish to discuss, I replied. He tapped his claws on the lectern. Very good. It has been an interesting few weeks, has it not? I sighed. That is one way of putting it. I think many of our listeners have valid concerns about the events that transpired. Would you not view your nanite weapons as cruel and excessive? Depends who they're used against. And who decides who deserves such a fate, Commander? I do not believe all humans are evil, as my predecessor did, but some of you are. You know this. What happens if your weapons fall into the wrong hands? As tempting as it was to argue, this guy was actually making sense. All it took was a few trigger-happy idiots in the chain of command to set off Armageddon. The same reason nuclear proliferation had almost ended in human extinction. It was too easy to rush to judgment, as we had almost done with the Devourers at the start of this mess, before we learned the full picture. Those are valid questions, Mr. Speaker. But let me ask you, what happens when the next Devourers come for us? I paused, giving my words time to marinate. How do we protect the Federation without some sort of deterrent? Answering a question with a question. You should run for office, Commander. You're a natural. A few light chuckles came from the representatives. I can see the wisdom in having a last resort, as you say. But there needs to be fail-safes, oversight, transparency. If you truly desire peace, these weapons do not belong in the hands of one species alone. I narrowed my eyes. That's not my call, Mr. Speaker. Is there something else that I can answer? Yes. Your government has failed to offer a sufficient explanation for several matters. Let's start with the easy question. Where is General Kylon? Your ambassador claimed he was a passenger on your ship, and nobody has heard from him since. Kylon. I was fortunate that he accepted the first officer position on my ship, given his intelligence and qualifications. But while he hadn't complained about her circumstances, at least to me, I knew his heart was with his home. It was my fault he would never see his planet again. The least I could do was preserve his honor and let him retire in the history books as a hero. He is dead. Uneasy murmurs rippled through the chamber, and I offered an apologetic glance to Jatari Ambassador Powlin. Shot through the abdomen during our shootout with the Zanuck. Nothing we could do. Please accept my most sincere condolences. He was a good soldier and a better man. Speaker Retke's eyes scanned my figure in a quick motion. It seemed he was gauging my body language. The truth not only would devastate Kylon, but would implicate the Terran Union in illegal genetic experimentation. If there was any hope of salvaging our relationship with the Federation, this was a cover story that they needed to buy. I bowed my head, closing my eyes. Images of the Devourer homeworld floated through my mind, as vivid as when I had been standing on the bridge a week ago. The same memories I saw every night when I tried to sleep. Instead of pushing them away, I turned my focus on them. The sprawling oceans and the faint orange glows dotted across the landmasses screamed that life was present. I imagined the children witnessing their final sunrise, not realizing the fate that was about to befall their race. The heat wave vaporizing the surface, extinguishing a million souls in an instant. A people doomed by their own creation. Perhaps in another life we would have been friends. Or perhaps in another life we would have suffered their fate. Commander Rykov, the speaker shouted my name into the microphone. Jolting me out of my trance. His nostrils flared, which I believe was an expression of concern for his species. I didn't mean to distress you. We'll change the subject. I breathed a silent sigh of relief. Retke needed to see a genuine display of grief to be convinced, and that was the only way I could give it to him. Next matter. I'd like to preface this question by expressing gratitude on the behalf of the Federation. If you hadn't stepped in, I think we'd be the property of the Zanuck Republic right now, he said. I hesitated. This speaker was tactful with his words, but something told me a but was about to follow. It was my pleasure. That said, your government claims Ambassador Kazil was killed by friendly fire. I'd be more inclined to believe that, if every individual in the Zanuck line of succession didn't turn up dead within a day of the capital incursion. Retke muttered. Is that an accusation? You know as well as I do that there was a coup. Ordinary Zanuck citizens seized the palace and executed their leaders. It was live-streamed to the galaxy. If only it were that simple. These were the most well-armed ordinary citizens I've ever seen. Do normal insurgents have sniper drones and automatic rifles on your world, Commander Rykov? Well, the answer to that was affirmative, but saying that wouldn't portray humanity in a positive light. No, I suppose not. What are you getting at? I'm saying someone armed them. Someone also gave the populace reason to rebel by flooding their economy with cryptocurrency, making it so they couldn't afford basic necessities. Speaker Retke paused, meeting my eyes. It would stand to reason the same entity is responsible for both things, and the Terran Union has already been linked to the financial attack.